Good evening and welcome to another Sullivan and Pascoe non-league banter. We got great response last month from the show we did last month, so we thought we'd give it another go, didn't we, Mick?
We sure did.
So obviously I've got Mick Sullivan sitting beside me, so good evening, Mick, and looking forward to the show.
Looking forward to the show. We had great feedback from our last show for the Bostik Premier, and now we've decided to invite our good friends here today from the Conference South to get their opinions on the differences of Bostik and Conference South football, and just some light banter.
Right, so let me introduce you to the managers. Tonight they're all three managers from the National League South. Alan Dowse from Woking. Good evening, mate.
How are you?
Good, thank you. Gary McCann from Hampton and Richmond Borough.
Evening, chaps.
And John Underwood from Slough Town. Good evening, lads. Thanks very much for giving up your time and coming and spending it on a Friday night.
No worries.
Right, so let's have a little chat with you guys. Start with you, Alan.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're second in the league, and you must be really. This is your first season as well. First season, you'll be there a year in May. Like, you must be so pleased the way the season's gone, because you had to completely start with a new squad. You've had a lot of injuries, so you must be really pleased where the boys are.
Yeah, delighted. It's 10 games to go. So something to do and look back, you look forward. And if I look back, it has been a good season. We've done well in the FA Cup. We've obviously tried to top the league, had a good start. Obviously building a new side, it is very hard, it's difficult. Especially out working, because I expect to go straight back up or be near the top. And it's been good, but obviously, you know, Torquay's doing very well as well, and Temps are doing well, so there's a lot of good sides in the league. But when it's late, I never really look back. I think we've done what we had to do. I've got to look forward now and what we're going to do in the next 10 games.
You say that they expect to go up, so is the club financially ready to get back? Because, listen, you hear so many things in football. When they were last in the National League, were they punching above their weight, or do you feel the club's financially ready to get back way up in the...
I don't know financially, because you got to look at, you got to win games of football, so finance does it come in? It does a little bit, because the problem is I knew you've got to spend something like up to 55 to 60 pounds on travel. But we had to go from full-time to part-time, which we've done. We've had to reduce the budget, which we've done. I hear silly stories like I've got 8 or 9 grand to spend, which is totally untrue, to be honest. All of them must go around. But to be fair, the working people are fantastic, and the supporters have been brilliant. We do get great following, we're going away. It has got tradition, as you know, more than a lot of non-league clubs, to be honest, isn't it? Because what happened 20 years ago, in the glory years, we're just trying to build a club again, so we're trying to get the supporters involved, the community involved. We're trying to do it, you know, about paying sign-on fees, about paying agent fees. We're just trying to do it the right way. If it is a right way, but the only way is to win football matches. You've got to do it, don't you? Because all managers are the same. We try to bend the truth a little bit about the budget. We all think we can do it next to nothing. We all think we can, do what we do. And I'm no different. But to compete in the top two, the lads will tell you it's a tough league, a very tough league, and no given right to win any game. But you know, it's been a good season. But if I lost the next 7 games, I couldn't even get the sack, and that's how football is. So I've got to look forward.
So you said your guys have gone part-time.
Yeah.
Would you like to go back full-time, 3 days, say 3 days a week in mornings, or what?
I would love to. You think about things like that. You think about what we do, and the lads will be the same. Now we in full aim. We'll play on a Saturday. We'll not do much on a Monday because we've got a Tuesday game. We'll have a day off on a Wednesday. We'll not do much on a Thursday or Friday, so it's only about one day. Sure. And I think footballers look after it. I don't used to. I think footballers look after themselves so well. Yeah. Like in my day, it would make a difference. Got 25 pounds, you bring in Saturday night, but players don't think as much now. They look after their bodies to do. And I don't think the full time makes that much difference, to be honest. You know, and that's the honest truth. Would I want to be a full time manager? Of course you do. You want to go as high as you possibly can, and hopefully we're working. But the problem is, I don't think it's essential to go full time. To be honest. Yeah.
Also, I did hear that the ground's being redeveloped to a 10,000-seater stadium.
I could have gone to fill that, wouldn't I?
Yeah, wow.
You can fill that out.
But probably that's one of my questions. Like, when's this happening? When's it going to be finished?
I do. Listen, I remember being at Walton Hirsch and having 10 years that we're going to do a new ground. Remember, it was all
about Walton Casuals, mate.
I think. Remember Walton Casuals days?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Sorry, mate. Yeah.
How are you going on there?
Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Just answer your own questions.
I don't know. But honestly, the bottom line is, I think it's fantastic how the football club are going to have 10,000 because it's new development and they've worked very hard for years to get it. And if it's going to happen, fantastic. But when it's going to happen, it could be 2 or 3 years, and that might not involve me. I'm trying to be brutal.
No, yeah, I understand.
I could be there for 10 years, or I could be there for 10 months, and that's how football is. So what's the point of me worrying about what's happening? But I think the chairman and the directors and we've worked very hard to try to do it. And you know.
Then you have the ground share, obviously.
We'll let the ground share and try to
order shop.
Get going at home now, are we?
Fast service.
So no comment on that one then.
No, Gary.
If the chairman come knocking at your door from order shops, you fancy that, or
Go on.
if someone come knocking at your door and said there's an order shop job on offer?
Are you trying to get 15 audio?
We're from ground share. Do you get the order shop job there?
Right,
That's I know my entire life's our pitch, so you might want to.
Let's get on the ask.
It's a big fan of our pitch.
But, no, but of course we'll ask about if that's going to happen, and you know, I'll go to Gary because that's local at Hampton. We'd love to have him. I've actually got my son's hero here tonight, Gary McCann.
Oh, that's right.
He's a massive Hampton fan still. Loves what Gary does. And
goes home and away, did he?
He goes home and he gets his name more in the house than mine, to be honest, you know. So it was a great appointment by Hampton, appointing Gary, and my son goes to every single game home and away and loves it, absolutely loves it. So it's fantastic.
Well, talking about Gary, obviously it's your first season at Hampton and Richmond Borough, Gary, and had a great start, had a brilliant cut run, like the boys have said already. But of late, it's gone a little bit wayward, and you're only 8 points above the drop zone. Why is that, and what's happened, you feel?
Well, we're in a similar situation to Douse. Went into a football club really with an empty changing room. You know, we're maybe a little bit lesser on the food chain as well. So, you know, we've had to rebuild a side. You know, we've had to put a team together in a shorter time than what we.
Feedback on that one.
In a lesser period than most managers have got. We were both late coming in, you know, through the door. So, you know, what we done at the start of the season, although we had only different start in the first 3 games, we really kicked on from there. Performance was good. You know, the nucleus of the side and the balance of the side was good, and we maybe raised expectations in that early part of the season, and you know, results were maybe better than most would have expected at that stage, especially with a new team and you know, a new beginning as such. And all that's happened is really it's levelled off, and we've fallen away a little in terms of performance. I mean, we were derailed a little with the FA Cup, and I know it had its benefits, and it'll have its benefits going forward. But we were derailed, and there's no getting away from that. That was the start of it. That was, you know, compounded with some injuries to key players, senior players, experienced players that we've maybe not been able to get on the pitch as often as we like, and put that all together. Confidence starts to drop, and it's just snowballed really. And you know, we've been fighting it for the last 2 months. You know, we've, as I say, raised expectations at the early part, and fans are sort of, fans are like, they can be a fickle bunch at times.
At the beginning they weren't happy, but you won them over. It must have been. I went and watched them a couple of times, you a couple of times, and they were a little bit grumpy. But I thought you'd done a great job. You won them over. I really believe that.
Yeah, I think the majority are still with us because they can see how we work in. They can see, you know, the structure and how we work as a management team. It's, you know, we've got a hard act to follow. I mean, the successes that Dale's brought to the party, you know, has made my job that little bit more difficult. So I've embraced that. The majority of the fans, as I've just said to you, are with us. You have a small little minority that want to jump on to your shortcomings and, you know, and become the critics. But, you know, that's football at all levels. So, you know, I think the majority, as I've said, and the people that matter can see that we are building. We're a work in progress. This season was always going to be a season that was a test for me and a challenge for me, and I'm experiencing a level for the first time, and I'm still learning my trade. As long as you've been in the game, you're always learning, and I've done that at the next level up, and you know, I've had to do that with, as I say, a new team. So we'll learn plenty from this season. I'm sure we'll have, you know, enough to see us through, and you know, and then the rebuild and the focus for next season sort of becomes apparent. So I've enjoyed every minute of it.
No, the previous manager really left you a bit in the lurch by nicking everyone and just leaving you with just the odd one or two players left, really.
I'd have done exactly the same.
Would you?
So,
Right,
you know,
I'm a bit personal. That's fair enough. Sorry, who's the previous manager?
I was going to say, did you...
Oh, it's you, sorry.
How do you get on that, Egan?
I'm no longer there, mate.
I was saying that, I mean, he's been criticised for that, and I know he's been criticised, but that is football, right? And what football clubs and football fans have got to realise that, you know, obviously finances do come into it, especially the next level up, but I'd say, you know, 9 out of 10 footballers play for the football manager. They don't necessarily play for the football club or the badge. And fans don't want to hear that, but it is fact. You know, a good manager like himself moves on, you know, the better players are going to be attracted by that proposition. And the proposition, you know, there's no getting away from the fact. Woking, Hampton, they're two.
Have you played each other yet? Just happening to?
We have, yeah.
And
We've got
who's
beat both times.
You got beat both times?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll say no more on that one.
So you're talking him, wasn't it?
So, how many points do you think you need to be safe with that league, you think?
Well, I think 42 went down last year, but when you've looked in previous years, it's been a sort of high to middle 30s. So,
sure. I
mean, you look at the 3 teams that are, yeah, Danny's just said we're 8 points clear. I still think we're a couple of wins shy.
Of course, yeah.
I think 41, 42 points will be enough. You know, I look at, and we've already done it as a management team, we wouldn't be doing our job otherwise. We've looked at the games and the fixtures that the bottom 3 teams have got, and we've homed in on the bottom 3 teams, but I still think, you know, Eastbourne, Truro, Dulwich, there's still 3 or 4 teams that are in and around us that are still, you know, still in sort of touching distance of that as well. But we've looked at the 3 bottom teams because they're the furthest away from us, and looking at their fixtures, I know obviously Western beat Torquay Saturday, but then it was backed up with a heavy defeat on Tuesday. But looking at their fixtures, they've got some tough games, the bottom 3, really tough games. Every game in the division is difficult. I think we found that out, but they've got some tough ones in, and we have as well. But I just think they'll, you know, that buffer we've got to make sure we keep that, you know, and take that into the sort of the last 4 or 5 games if we can. Or try and get a couple of wins as quickly as possible. But our next 5 games are against, you know, against opposition other than Oxford Saturday that are really vying for players. So it's going to be a you know, tough challenge for us, but we're ready for it. I think we are starting to move forward. Just need to get some goals in the team. Like, I think we're all on the same page on that. You know.
You said this is the first time you managed at this level. So all the managers below trying to get into the league, what advice would you give them that you found?
With the division itself? I mean, it's funny because I've had this conversation a couple of times, and some may, you know, sort of raise their eyebrow at this, but I think there's less flair in the division that we find ourselves in, as in the talent that you sometimes see in the Boston Premier, but the consistency, the efficiency, the reliability, you know, they're all the aspects that I've found that this division is full of. You know, every back four you come up against a resolute and organised and difficult to break down. The midfields are very similar, you know, and the offensive players are, you know, match winners if you're not on your game. So, although the division is a better division and it's a much better quality division, it's a different kind of player.
Sure.
You know, as I've just said, they're more durable, they're more reliable, they're more efficient. They're all them things that, you know, maybe that when you drop down the levels, level 3, level 4, you'll see it 1 in 4 or 1 in 5 or 1 in 3. Where in this, you're seeing that 7 or 8 out of 10 from the majority of the players every week.
Wow. So do you think Bostic players, Premier players, could make that link? Because consistency is the most attractive.
That's the word you've just used. The only way they will make that jump is if they become more consistent. We've taken quite a few up with us because they're players I trusted and they're players that I felt could make the step up. Have they been as consistent as they need to be? Some of them not.
Right.
So do I still believe that they can make the adjustments required? Yeah, but it can't be at the club's expense, at the team's expense. So they have to move, you know, quickly with it. But it's consistency over and above anything. Efficiency and consistency are the two words I would use that the league is full of.
Fair enough. Okay, and you John, now, you're the oldest been at the club, the longest, 6 years you've been at Slough Town.
Yeah, 6 years at Slough, me and Bates.
Joint manager, yeah. So 2 promotions in that 6 years?
Yeah, we've had a good spell. It's a great club to be at. Chairman's fantastic. Saying to the guys earlier, you couldn't work for a better chairman. He's supportive, but he doesn't interfere. He doesn't place too many demands. He's realistic in terms of what we can achieve. He's been realistic this season in terms of what we can achieve. So yeah, we've loved it. Obviously, we moved into the new ground a couple of years ago, so we've had cup runs and promotions. So it's been been a brilliant time for us.
Looking back, Godalming seems a long time ago.
It does. It does. Obviously, our first job together was there. We had about 2.5 years at Godalming before we got the opportunity at Slough. And yeah, I think we got in the playoffs twice with Godalming. Didn't quite make it up from step 4, but they were a good kind of a club that was punching above their weight really in terms of the resources we had. But we got a good side together that worked hard for us, and that's kind of how we've gone on really. We've been very careful about who we've added to that through we went to Slough. We were just talking about we took a lot of players with us from Godalming to Slough. That's what managers do. You take players who you trust as well. It's not just about, I think, players following managers. It's managers wanting people around who they can trust. And we took a good number from Godalming. There's only a couple left now because I think we've developed over the years. But yeah, really pleased we made that move, and it's working out well. And this year's been another big learning curve for us.
And working with Neil, obviously I know him as well. And I've always this joint manager thing. I can't get my head around it, but it's been a successful thing for both of you two. But you know, you must have had some disagreements over so many years that you've been together. How do you actually resolve those disagreements? You can't be singing from the same hymn sheet all the time. And so when you've had this odd disagreement, who takes control then? Who ends up in
It's an interesting. I think if you haven't been in that partnership, I don't think you can always, like you said, you can't quite get your head around it. It does work. Let's say, give me the example, you've got 3 forwards for 2 positions up front, and you're making, and he wants one in and I want another one in. The way it's generally worked is we just talk it through. We talk it through over 3 or 4 days leading up to the game. Generally one will feel slightly more stronger than the other one, and then because we kind of trust each other, and if it's that close, you're not going to be wrong either way, you know, and you can pick a team and you win the game, you're right, you lose the game, you're wrong. So if it's a close call, we'll talk it through, and one of us will end up backing down, and that's just, it works.
Have you ever actually fell out, and you know, we all fall out, even if we're friends, have you ever had a little falling out and just kissed and made up a few days later, that type of thing?
I wouldn't fall out because I wouldn't want to kiss him to make up. But no, to be fair, we're good mates. He was best man at the wedding. We played together when we were younger on the same sides. So we've got very similar ideas on what we're looking for, and I think over the years we've kind of honed in on that. So we tend to know the sort of players we want to go for, the sort of characters we want to go for, and we don't have too many. I think that the times where maybe we have more disagreements is probably on the touchline during a game, because as you know, you're thinking about making a change. One of us will be like, we need to do something, we need to get someone on. The other one says no. If you're talking about selection for a game, you've got hours to talk, days to talk that through. But when you're on the sideline, you know what it's like. If you're losing your way in a game and you feel you've got to do something, you've got to make quick decisions, and that is the time.
And then one of you will just quickly make that, and the other one will just follow in with it. But
I'll explain it, and I know it doesn't quite even feel right to myself, but it works. One of you will be so sure, and because you kind of trust each other, and the other one will be all right, we'll go with it. And it's how it's worked, and it has worked. So
good chemistry.
Yeah, it's good.
One last thing. I mean, obviously Slough. We talk about Woking being a big club, and Hampton. Slough were a big club in their day, and they're back to where they should be. I mean, is there any sort of remit from the powers that be above you that they've said to you, playoffs this year, John, Neil?
No, not this year. Not this year. I mean, we've got to be realistic. I look at the table. The top 2 are the 2 that came down. You know, they're looking like they can bounce straight back up. And then you look at Chelmsford, Welling, Bath, Dartford, Billericay with their resources. There's your playoff team. We shouldn't be anywhere near those teams. We've just come up. You know, we shouldn't be yet. We want to be, but we shouldn't yet be competing with those teams. Our remit this year, and what me and Bake said from the start of the season, we want to be competitive week in, week out. Don't want to take any beating. We've had one beating, and that was Torquay when we were down to 10 men. We were 0-0 at half time. Ended up losing 4-0 with 10 men. But we've been competitive week in, week out. So that we've achieved that as our first goal. And if we can come mid-table, we want to be higher. If we come mid-table, we've got to be happy with that. And but we're learning as to what we think we need, and we look at the teams above and we think we know what we need. Is can we do it?
So what would it take? What would it take Slough Town to get into the National League? Do you think?
Some more goals. That's where we've fallen short. We've been quite solid this year. We've let in a few goals recently, but up until kind of January, we had one of the best defensive records in the league. But we've not scored enough goals, and that's kind of come back to haunt us a little bit. And we've lost a couple of lads that were contributing goals. We had the lad Matty Stevens on loan, who went back the day after we went out the FA Cup, which was a double blow. James Dobson went on to Sutton. We've just, in the last few days, lost Chris Flood, who's another one of our key forwards, who's moving on next week. So Ben Harris is the other one, and he's injured at the moment. So our 4 lads that have got our most goals, none of them, after tomorrow, none of them will be available for us. So
That's handy, isn't it, lads?
I think
You've got your view. Don't say anybody.
I mean, Daz should be more familiar with this, and I think you've answered this question before, Daz. But I mean, we've gone into I've gone into the division for the first time, and the general consensus that you've heard from different managers that the league is the strongest it's ever been. Would you agree with that?
100%, definitely.
You know, and we felt that. You look, there was 7, 8 teams at the place. It was 2 big hitters, the expectations are, you know, that much greater. But it has been unforgiving for us.
Yeah,
anyway. You know, that's why I say it's that efficiency and whatnot. It's been an unforgiving sort of learning curve for us.
It's what it could be next year as well.
Well, you look at, yeah,
the
so
bottom 8 in the league above all Sutton. So it's going to be 4.
Well, you've got Maidstone, you've got Aldershot, haven't you? You've got Havant,
Braintree, Havant, Dover.
Yeah.
Aldershot, yeah, Maidstone, yeah.
Torquay again.
Torquay again.
So why has the league got stronger? Why do you feel the league's got stronger then? What is that?
Well, the 2 sides that have come in.
The reason for the teams coming down.
They're 2 huge clubs that have, that have been national or above for how long? As long as you can remember. And and then you look at the teams that your Chelmsfords, your Dartfords, your Baths, them sides that have sort of regrouped and evolved and got better with the standard. And there's there's other sides in there as well that are that are punching. So it is a strong division. It's definitely been a.
This is for all 3 of you. They've put an extra team in the playoff, haven't they? 7 teams now.
No, it's the same last year.
Oh, that must be the other league. There must be the Bostic Premier then. They've gone with 17 because they've got.
We've got 17.
They've got a super playoff.
Winners and 6, haven't they?
Yeah, I think the Bostic have mirrored what the conference nationals have done for North and South in the last couple of years.
So you haven't got a super playoff then?
No, not like that. It's
the super playoffs between leagues.
This is like you took 2nd and 3rd go straight into the semi-finals.
Right.
And it's 4th to 7th playing like effectively a quarter-final.
Okay, fair enough.
So it's 4th to 7th. Winners of that will obviously play the 2nd and 3rd.
So you don't have to play. You have played. Okay, I've got you. Okay.
Won't be involved.
I'll be on the beach by
I'll ask this question. I'll ask. You may laugh at this question, but I'll put it out there anyway. Is it Torquay's title to lose? I know you're on same points. I know you're on the same points. I know they're on the same points. But with how big they are and what they've got, is it their title to lose?
It's 50-50 for me.
I mean, we've played against Torquay twice. We've beaten once, and we've got beat comfortably. And we've played Dow's twice as well. So we've tasted them both, sort of, And for me, I think what Torquay have got. They've brought in a few loanees. They've got a new manager.
Yeah.
That the new manager syndrome seemed to ride them on that crest of the wave for a long period of time. They've now had a couple of indifferent results, and now all of a sudden, I think there's a challenge facing Gary Johnson. Now I think it's a few teams are now realising they can be beat, and there's a little bit more confidence in going into games. I mean, Western beat them last week, and such like, and I think Dows's teams have always been competitive, and there's no way that I would put Torquay out as favourites. That's my own opinion. I know Dows maybe talk it down a little, but I think it's spot on what he's saying. It's 50-50.
I think Torquay probably expected to be clear by now, and I think what Woking have done great is stuck with them, and I think they probably thought they'd be 5 or 6 clear now. and that's not the case, and that's going to make them jittery. And then the result last week will make them jittery. They go to Billericay tomorrow.
Billericay tomorrow.
Just brought Jay Robinson back. You know, they could drop points. They could be
I think if they're within a point or two by the time, when do you play 3 games time?
April the 6th.
If they're within a couple of points of each other when they go to Woking, I think I'll put Woking favourites, and that's my own opinion.
You think different on my side of the fence. I don't think you do. You think different because I'm thinking. I seen Torquay play against Hemel, and I thought we outstanding. I thought we were absolutely outstanding. And I thought unbelievable. I thought I could. So in my head, even though I've got a group of lads and say, listen, go 2-2, and that's been the thing. If you can go 2-2 of anybody. But we're now really talking about promotion we're having in the camp. I know I once mentioned about the championship, but then I go on Saturday and I've come off the pitch Saturday absolutely devastated at that because I thought we'd done alright. And then if I went to lose at West Ham, I was actually gobsmacked. And you're thinking, well, it's a hope around because Champs was probably thinking if he had a beat Torquay, then beat us because we got them. Then it brings them in the mix as well. I think when you're on different sides, you think differently. I thought Gary Johnson's winning there and he'd been absolutely brilliant. But I do agree with you, John. I thought everybody, not just them, I thought everybody in our league thought we would go 5, 6, 7, 8 points clear. And all said the lads, just go 2-2 and see what happens. Because anybody can beat anybody,
It proves the point with the question you asked House earlier. They're the only full-time team in our division. So the expectations of them, we all did. We expected them to be runaway league. That's credit to the sides that are up there.
And is everybody beating everybody in your league, or no one's really on a, like you say, on the same point? So it seems to me that people are, like you say, they lost to Western-super-Mare. People are just losing games when they shouldn't be losing games, or not?
And my opinion, we're going to give against them or against Chipman. Like I have done against the 2 lads here. And of course you feel so you win, but you're not. It's not about a shock if you lose, is it? It's not because it's that sort of division. So that's what it is. We're playing for the fact that the game we had, and in Boxing Day, and we're 2-0 at half time, and it's good. Second half, 2-1. God, how we never got to make it 2-0, and that's what sort of happens. We beat Johnson 1-0, nothing in the game but a corner and a head off game, was it? Yeah. And that's the difference between picking up 6 points there to actually having 2. It's things like that. It's little.
But as in anything, it seems that grind out those results end up being at the top. Yeah, that's why those 2 are there, because they've been more consistent.
We were lucky. We played Truber, and we had a Tuesday night 1-0. People say, we had something like 14 corners. 14 corners. We had one corner night. It took a 35-yarder. Yeah. A great goal to score, the top corner, whatever, great goal. But I'm thinking, everybody says, that's a good result. I'm thinking, God, we're lucky there. We'll play on Saturday, batter their goal to come up when everybody's disappointed. It's hard, isn't it? It's difficult. Football's you've got to get 3 points, don't you?
Of course, Okay, Jess, well, what's the first topic tonight then, Mick?
Well, whether we can get through a few, but we'll get through this one. I mean, the social media, that's what me and Gary are about now. We want your thoughts on it, good and bad. I suspect you've had some good times through it and probably some bad times through it, Gary. The same with you, Daz, the same with you, John. I'm just going to put it out. We go with John first. Social media, it's now at this level of football. It's right way down now, because we're even bringing it down to that, and loads of other people are jumping on the bandwagon, because I think the initiatives with all the sort of platforms that you can go out there now is fantastic. It must put extra people on gates, so it has good points and bad points. Can you give us a good and a bad from your perspective?
For me, I see it positive. I know every manager's different, they also have different views to me. I know me and Bakes use social media a lot. We get really good feedback from our supporters. They want to hear what the managers are thinking, and I think as long as you take Twitter for example, it's difficult after a game. We were saying earlier your emotions are all over the place after the game, but we make sure we put a tweet out. I don't tweet loads about, I tweet a little bit about Tottenham and stuff like that, but about Slough I tweet after a game, win, lose or draw, that day, that night, because you get managers that just want to talk when they've won.
Yeah.
So we'll say something, our view on the game, which I know our supporters want to hear. But the difficult bit then is that you invite people to have a comment, and we've had it. People, Slough fans will then come on and say something really nice about us, which is lovely. Then you'll get some that will come and, why did you pick him? Why did you take him off? What were you doing? And you then, just leave it.
And that's the right way to deal with it.
Well, what it does, it gives everyone a voice.
Yeah.
Everyone now in football, I think all supporters are experts.
So you've had no bad experiences, but it's all good for you then, John. Yeah.
Hot, but we just.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, social media and what it's created is a platform for the critique. I mean, that's, you know, as much as there's praise from it, I think it's another opportunity for, you know, you talk about message boards, you talk about, you know, where you go back. That's when
the old forums.
Well, forums. They used to hide behind the forums and such. Now they can hide behind an alias on a Twitter platform or such like. You still don't fully know who they are. Some of them you do. It gives you an opportunity to interact. It gives them an opportunity to hear what your thoughts are after the game, which a lot of the time don't mirror what your fans think. You know, there's issues in them. So that is a good, you know, for me, it's you know. It's
do you get interviewed by your social media?
Yeah, before every game, but you know, it's before every game and after every game as well. Win, you know, or
there's no hiding.
No, there's no hiding, and the camera's in front of me face 5-10 minutes after the game. So. You know, you have to be a little bit diligent on what you're saying because your emotions are running high, and over the last 3 months we've had, you know, our fair share of defeats, you know, for different reasons as we just said. So again, they're looking at every word you say, they're looking at every emotion you show. It's, you know, being accused of being, you know, flat, miserable looking, all the rest of it that comes with it. You know,
you go home to your wife and kids, and do you ever switch off? I mean, it must be god awful. I mean, I'm going to put this to doubt. I mean, she must go through hell then, but you know.
No, it doesn't. It never ends. And the problem is with social media throughout that night, whatever you've said or whatever you've got bits coming back at you, you've got replies, you've got critics, you've got. So it does go on, and if there is a critic, you know, your biggest protector tends to be your wife or your family. It affects them more when there is some criticism there, and we're all worthy of criticism at some stage in our time, in decisions we make, in results, in, you know, we're open to criticism, but sometimes it can be a little bit personal, and it gives them the platform to be a little personal.
And I do wonder if people must have jobs, because they must all be on the door or something like that, because how you got time to tweet, I'm just going to work today, I'm just doing this, match day, and then afterwards, great for us fans, I've got the one you want to be involved with, and this just got to the top league, you know, why do you want people to do what they do? You know what I mean? I
Twitter's slightly. I mean, your Instagrams, your Facebooks, which I haven't got.
No.
I think Twitter's a slightly different platform than the other two. I think
because you can pick who you want.
Well, exactly, and I use it. I'm sure I use it as a news feed.
Yes.
You know, you follow all the football clubs, all the different teams. You tend to find more out on Twitter. I mean, look at Jake Robinson.
You do find more out. Yeah.
Webcaster's Friday catch up.
You can't sleep on a Friday night before a big game. You just settle in, listen to Dowson.
They do subtitles as well for you. You know that.
We're having a good chat before you. No, but I think our supporters probably like this. I love our supporters, and it's a club I've always wanted to manage, and things like that. I'm delighted to be there. And you do, and I try to put people up in the bar and go to see people face to face. But I think some of the stuff on there, you know, like I'm not just saying that Gaz because we mate him. I'm not saying that at all. He's the best man who could have got. Best man who could completely care. Now, surely I'm not just saying it's disrespectful at all. Surely I went there with a little bit bigger pull and nicked the 5 of the best players. The I thought were the best players and got them there and all that, you know. Now, obviously he's got a good chairman, a good vice chairman and stuff like that. I would back him. But, you know, and he surely at the start, when I've nicked all these better players and he's there on his own sort of thing, trying to get people from Hendon or whoever he can to get in, just like I have to do it at a little higher level, if you like, you know. Surely the fans are going to say, oh, it's going to take a good couple of years to do this. He has a couple of bad, he gets a cup run, he does all that, he has a couple of bad results. And all of a sudden, because his son, obviously a big fan, oh yeah, I tell you what, we can't do this. It's absolutely covered. So I think all that stuff that I think can put you off if you read it. So I say to players, and that's just my opinion, guys, you're selling and completely the right man for a job. But you get all these people and people believe it. So you write these things on this thing and people look at it, because I've seen a couple of his son shows it, I think, has he just said that? And he said something about me and whatever. And I'm thinking, why would you want to read that? I got told by Alex Ferguson once, right? I went up to the World Cup and I got told by Alex Ferguson, why read it with anybody else? Because if you read it with anybody else, everybody believes it. Even directors believe it. Directors look at it and say, they said to me, one director said to me, I'm not going to say who it is, working, well, I'll tell you what, cards for, they're not too happy. What's it got to do with them? You know what I mean? If they're happy, there's 2 or 3 people who try to stir things up. If you get the wrong one in there, you can't stir a nest where these directors, I've got a good set of directors here, but we look at them and say, I'll tell you what, they're not happy. Why look at this thing, just whatever, and I'll put any one of our fans up, and I'll go and meet them, and I'll go to pubs and meet them, and stuff like that, and I'll do that. But I'm just using that as an example where surely we'll go to Gaz and say, I'll tell you what, Dowson's left, he's took the 5 best players away, he's had maybe the bigger club if you like, and all like, oh, it got to be 2 or 3 year thing, but you don't get that. As soon as you lose 2 or 3 games, you get these narrowing people. Of course, and I think it's crap. So I never look at it. Like I say, I'm not great enough to go on Twitter. I wouldn't know what Facebook is. And the bottom line is, the supporters, I'd rather go and see them face to face. That's my thing. And why would you want to tweet and see it? Good game idea.
Listen, there's good and bad things about it, definitely. You know what I mean? The good things are, like you say, you can put your club out there, you can put all bits like you were saying, different news about your club, everything. But then there's obviously bad things about it as well.
Yeah,
so.
sure.
But the things you got your face on it, you know, it's your Twitter thing in it. I think, how sad is that in society? You know, you got your thing that, you know, Alan Dowson, manager working, and they start putting people in the toilet a day, done this a day, went shopping a day. I'm thinking, how sad can people get? But they must not all work, because how you got the time to do it? That's what I think.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's just my opinion. Listen, I wouldn't have to do it. I'm not in the computer, I'm not in the rubbish like that.
You're a bit older than us, though, Dowson.
Really just.
So is it good or bad in your opinion?
Crap.
Well, Alan Dowson, it's crap social media. So is it good for you two?
Yes, good.
So these two, so the two against one.
But used in the right way.
Mostly
Used
good.
in the right way.
Mostly good.
I think Gary said spot on in terms of, I use it to learn what's going on around me. So if you follow players, I've found stuff out. When we're playing a team on the weekend and I follow some of those players, you find out someone's away on holiday or someone's injured.
We said about that then. They find a bit of information out.
But that's what I say, when I just said to you about,
feed it into them.
when I say about policing it, it's exactly right.
Tell us all that's what happened. 100%.
You'll pick up something on a Thursday night, treatment again, not ready for Saturday or whatever it be, and you sort of, and it can be, you know.
I suppose you don't mean to when we talk to them, you don't really mean that much.
So you found that someone was, what that's
You find out all the time that someone
for me at times, you know, it's a critique.
I'll tell you why I went against it. I had a play at King's Stirling, right? And I used to watch it, and I used to look at it, and I'm not computer, I was thinking, Don, how would you get this? I know you can do it on your phone, can't you? And I remember being at King's Stirling, we went from top league to third top, and Delson's lost the dressing room, blah blah, just something we were talking about before, where, how do you know I've lost the dressing room? He's lost the dressing room, blah blah, the players don't like him anymore, blah, I'm thinking, I'm third top league. But Goffin, it was a player, one of my ex-players who was on there. See all that? And he got caught out. I sacked him. Yeah. He got caught out. But that's the sort of things you can get. You can get people who are in the club, or like I may have someone on a working form, for example, who's a Hampton fan who didn't want to make it grow up doing that. And you may have somebody who's a Hendon fan doing all that.
Behind Davis is that you don't quite know who they are. Message boards are. And they say
out of work managers.
Yeah, well, that's it.
In fact, it could be you.
They say message boards, don't they?
Yeah, you have a WhatsApp.
One into a not a real,
Do you have a WhatsApp group for your players? You have one?
Yeah.
And that's what you have?
I've had a WhatsApp group for as long as you can remember. They'll send me messages out to the group, meet times and everything. But for the first time this year, they've set their own one up. You know, obviously, you know, I don't know what they're talking about. You've been blocked. You've had not your paranoid.
Used to be, you know.
Fair enough. Well, thanks for that topic. Right. The second topic we're going to talk about is the National League gets quite a lot of TV coverage, and it's not regular enough for me. I watch it quite often, and I think it could, like they've got a game tomorrow, Leighton Orient versus Wrexham, but I just feel that it could be a little bit more weekly, and then they have the highlight show on the Monday night, and I watch that as well. Do you feel that they could do more, have more live games for the National League? That's the first question. And the second question, do you think they should come down to your leagues, the North and the South, and do a few live games for your games? Because all they do is have highlights and only show one game in each league. I don't know how you think about that.
I think the sensible comes in. I'm just using an example. If we did win a couple of games the next couple of weeks, if we did, and Torquay did as well, and that game 1 give us 6 should be I think people will see, oh God, that could be we might lose 4.
That's not be covered, surely Torquay.
No, it's not.
There won't be.
No, because I think we've asked the question, because I'm thinking
it's a more desirable game to watch than
any
other game.
But listen, we could be picking 5th by it. If it was tomorrow, I think people would rather watch that than Leighton Orient against. So I just think it's got to be. I think you could look and say, I'll tell you what, that's coming up in 2 weeks' time. That could be a corker, you know.
I think we live in a non-league world, so we demand more, don't we? We want more. You know, we work in the non-league world. I think. You know, I watch the National League programme, and I think they could do a once-a-month catch-up on South and North. You know, because all our games go up, don't they? All our goals go up, all our highlights go up. So they can source it for sure. You know, but it's obviously, I mean, the National League, as much as we want to see more, I suppose the demand is the demand outside of the non-league fan there. You know, I think it's moved on massively.
You look at some of the size of the clubs in the league above us, and it's, they're all ex-league clubs, the majority of them, and so there should be the interest there.
Maybe Jack Pearce, I didn't realise he's vice chairman, I think, of the National League. He's involved up there, Jack. I didn't realise he made comment in our last show, didn't he? Perhaps we should sort of speak to him and say, maybe, because I think the Boston League are getting more and more professional, and I sometimes think they do things better than maybe the National League does, i.e. what they're even thinking about doing next year with like a goal show and anything that's being covered. I don't see it as, you'd get it on BT I suppose, but I just think there could be more.
Did they ever get in touch with you? Does BT ever speak? Have they ever spoken to any of you clubs?
No. Have you never been interviewed?
No, just when we had
the FA
Cup and done it, but because I thought I showed highlights, that's what I thought at one point we were going to show highlights, but I haven't seen
No. Do you get some money to filter down as well, and that can help the clubs as well?
Definitely help, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I just wondered if you felt that they could do a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely.
And the season short games, the season tight games.
Well, maybe then we'll think about someone, if anyone that's connected with BT Sports that might have to listen tonight or whatever, maybe think about nearer the time whether you're both in both top or second or whatever. That should be a game, I think, and I think that'd do a world of good in bringing it down to the sort of levels that there's a load of non-league people out there that are totally untapped. Conference South into that. When you get to Conference National, I think it steps into a slightly different area, and I'm not downgrading the levels that you are, but I just think from Conference South down is my type of football. I love that. You know what I mean? We all want to get to the National League.
It's full time. The National League is. I know you've just been asked the question, but virtually the whole of the National League is full time, isn't it? It's the next league down from the pro.
It's the 5th division. Really.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, Chairman, how many go up in that league? That's another thing they need to sort out as well, don't they?
I think all leagues really free up free.
I think so as well, definitely, yeah. So,
it feels exciting,
Yeah,
we'll change the subject a bit. Refereeing, what's the standard of refereeing? Because we obviously, listen,
I'll come back.
I don't expect you to sit here. I don't expect you to sit here.
I'll be lost, guys. I'll be lost on this one.
I don't expect you to sit here and cope referees off of, but you know, we watch a lot of games and you can't have a game without a referee, you know what I mean? That's fine, that's obvious. But what is the standard like in the National South as a refereeing standard?
I mean, there's a huge amount of difference, would you say? I mean, I think the standard is slightly better. I mean, I know we've all had our run-ins at some stage with an official, and that will happen at all levels, right up to as far as you can find. But I would say the officials are of a better standard, and they're obviously, they're refereeing at a better standard, so they are moved up. You know, they are in the same sort of process. You know, if they referee well, they get promotion, don't they, as such? So it is better, but I still feel there's room for improvement.
Sure.
That's me being,
Well, your games are being video, so it must help you if there's any contentious issues.
Use every game's got to be video, isn't it?
The video coverage. Do your games get videoed as well, John?
Every game, and they have to send it off to the opposition.
Exactly. Well, we had one this season. We had a sending off at Wildstone that there was a red card when we had a video footage of the game, and you could see from the video footage that it was not worthy of a red card. He stepped across it, and there was no real contact made. But they withheld the red card because it wasn't the same viewpoint as the referee and linesman. The camera was looking from the back, and the referee.
They've got their get out.
They had to get out. So I just
Have any of you been sent off this season? Just out of interest.
I got overturned. I got sent off. I got overturned.
But this season.
Yeah.
Who's that against then?
They sent 2 players off. If you look at the video, and they sent me the day off. We were doing nothing. And you were doing nothing.
Right.
Because that would be in a change of my.
It's getting videoed by your people. I would have thought, could you not use that in your favour to appeal against that if you felt such strongly?
Did you appeal against one of them?
The tough thing is the referee association said there's never a red card, but the league at the time, obviously the conference said whatever said it was.
Right.
We've never got a red scanners. We got sent off, but it happened. Like I've been sent off before and deserved to get sent off.
Right.
I have.
Right.
I've deserved. But my things with referees, I feel sorry for them. I do. Is it better in the Premier? I don't know. Not honestly.
Would you say? It'd be interesting what these two guys say. Would you say he's maybe the most passionate manager in the league? You got more as a vocal sort of person around, or is there someone that's even more?
He's passionate and noisy.
Well, I know all managers are. I know you two are, but you know what I mean. Is there anyone that's got that really shows that passion from the sidelines?
Also, in different ways, of course. I get in there, get stuck in referee. You want to do that, and probably talk from my heart. And a couple of times I've probably been over the top, but you just care. And that's all it is. I always have a pint with managers that we end the game. I always have a drink with referees. Most of the time I will.
I got sent off this season for exactly,
You've been sent off?
Yeah, well, I was up. Well, it wasn't a red. Was you shown a red card or just asked the league?
I just a half time not to.
Yeah, it was the 87th minute at Hemel, and there was a challenge in front of the dugout, and I didn't use foul abusive language. I just made the point that it was a straight leg challenge. Referee sort of come over and spoke to me, and then he was over the other side of the pitch, and I can't remember, I shouted something across about another challenge or something, but not in any shape or form was it abusive. There was no swear words. but he said that from the distance he was away, he could see aggression in my face. This is my hand on my heart.
Few managers said,
my hand on my heart, he was 40 yards away. And he asked me, and I got a walk. I mean, they knew that it was a.
My biggest thing, I don't know what you think here, my biggest thing, right, you grew up before the game, right, I'll stop doing now, okay, so managers will walk in, you shake the referee's hand, they tell you, see him football time, then the assessor's there, and what's the assessor doing there? Like, if you want to improve it, when I was a player, and you get watched, so as managers we'll get watched by chairman to see what we do, and as players we'll get watched, now you're doing good, tell them that you're there.
You're there.
So why does the referee's ref? Because even the assessors there, we've been told what to do anyway, we get a deep
more cards.
Alright, I'll tell you what, that's what we've been told to do. It's assessors who are problem. Let the assessors just do one. Come to the game and watch from the start.
No one knows he's there.
On a Sunday, they look themselves like your game yesterday. That's how they're really.
No, I totally agree with that.
I think there's a lot of people would agree with that. Not to let them go in the dressing room before, speak to the referee. So many times I go in and his sister's standing there with them. You know what I mean? So, and then they normally.
He's marking them for how he's approaching and talking to you in that room.
They turn up with the referee sometimes.
That is the system, isn't it? It is the system. We can't change the system, so that's fine, and that's what it is. But as I say, I've always talked about the fact, should the referee know and assessor's there? No, because he won't use common sense. He wants to go further up the chain, so he is always going to apply the letter of the law, and I think some common sense has to come into play.
It's like telling a player on a Saturday afternoon he's got Man United watching him every week. What's the difference? You know, so like, well, he's going to play differently, he's going to do things differently, and 9 times out of 10 he'll play lesser than he played the week before when he didn't know Man United were there watching. It's the same on an assessor referee situation.
No, that's fine, that's fine. I mean, look, we're closed that now, but to be fair, there are some good referees around, so we can out this argument. There are some good referees, but I think if there's anyone out there from a referees sort of association or whatever, as the general managers sitting around here, we feel assessors should make themselves innocuous at games and speak to that referee either later that evening or the next day and talk about his good and bad points and never make known. That's just the general opinion we all agree on that one.
Right, a question's coming. Thank you very much for sending the question in. It's for you, John. A Slough fakes. He never said a name, he just said a fan, so thanks very much indeed. Sam Togwell.
Yes.
Anyone inquire from him from any club? Thank you very much for sending that in.
I'll just talk about it. We got a bit lucky with him. His brother is our player coach, and so obviously we know about him. And he's kind of worked his way down. He was a championship player. In fact, him and his brother, Lee, his brother, has worked his way up. This is the highest he's played, and Sam was a championship player at Barnsley, and he's kind of come down, and they've met, and they're now playing together in the same team, which is brilliant for them. Sam is with us because he's local. He took, we also managers lie about budgets, but
he's putting it on here a lot.
He's come out of the pro game, he's started work, and he lives local, and he wanted to play. He wanted to play on the same side as well. We got him on a deal that no one else would have got him on, and that happens in football. And we're lucky to get him, and he's a great character. And when me and Bake sign players, the word that we always look for is hunger. And you know, a player like that, he's 34, I think now. You might question, does he still want it where he's been? And I think the biggest example was when we played you the other week. 1-0 up, they scored the 93rd minute, and we're in the changing room, and he has absolutely gone ballistic. Everybody completely lost it. And I stood there, and I don't want to let him get on with it. I thought, do you know what? I'm happy that that's coming from him, because it showed how much it
that's funny you say that. See, Dash, you wouldn't have never liked that, would you? You would not have liked that. Sort of talking before the show about how some of your players have tried to show that old passion about you ain't done this, you ain't done that.
I think it's the last minute thing. It's different. You come in, a senior player like that. I can take it. I can't be honest. I can take it. What I hear is when players come in, we're doing. I think you've had.
All come when they've been poor and one wants to sit there and we'll like, shut up, sit down, and we were talking. But this was a slightly different scenario. But we played well and we'd let ourselves down in terms of game management, if you like, late on in the game.
Nicked a point.
Nicked a point. And
good away point, mate.
It was a home point. It was a home point. And admittedly, it was a point that we didn't deserve. You know, it definitely was. But you know.
So no club's interested at the moment. No one's really inquiring.
They may well be, not what we've heard, and yeah, very much part of the plans for next season. Yeah.
Fair enough. We've got any questions, Mick? Anyone coming? Well, two. We might have two coming tonight.
I could throw a few innocuous ones in it, but I'll save you from it tonight.
Let's see what you want.
I mean, this is just a general question because we want it to be a little bit light. Have you heard what's the most strangest or funniest thing you've heard from an opposition's dugout? Is there anything that springs to mind that you've heard you think, bloody hell, what sort of... I know it's a pro one. Is there a little funny story that you need half hour to think about one?
No, that's dugouts, probably myself, you dugouts. You see, I've got a very strong accent, which probably you haven't covered. I remember, the only thing that's good with me in the dugout, I remember being at Dorford. We got promotion at Kingston, right? This is where my accent gets away with it, right? Talk about referees as well, this comes in this.
Yeah.
So we won a promotion at Kingston, and I think I'm an ex-Mourinho, so I think my players can get us there, right? We're going there, first 5 games we lost 5 on the spin, I know I'm going to get the sack. Lucky enough, my next game's at Dorford away, who were top of the league and we're bottom, not 1 point on the table. I go to Dorford away, we're 3-0 down at half time, so at half time I'm saying this, and just get everybody behind the ball, you know, everybody blah blah. Anyway, 5-0 down, 90th minute, Tommy Williams, who took my job, gets sent off. Now I got the names when you effing this, you effing that, you're disgrace and all that. Flag goes up, he sends me off. I kick the door, Tommy's like, oh sorry gaffer, I says, don't worry Tom, I'm with you, yeah, I've been sent off as well, like. Now, how my accent gets away with it, and being in a dugout, is a lad called Jerry Petit, who you know. Jerry's my secretary, and I says, Jerry, listen, I've lost 6 on the spin, mate. Go and see the referee. And I says, I'll get the sack anyway. Yeah. Funny enough, the long story is, I've got the playoff final that year, which is incredible, as you know. But anyway, I'm 6 down, I've made every mistake going, I'm going to get the sack the next day, I believe. I says, go on up there and just see a ref and see what he clears. Anyway, he goes in, 10 minutes later, he says, Dogs, I can't believe that. He says, he knew your aggression. You could see it in his face, but he never understood one single word. That's where the accent comes from. So that's the only thing I've got on that one. But he had things off different dugouts, he didn't take it in there. I think it just concentrated.
I had a manager, and I still to this day, and I turn up, I don't share the manager's name.
No, that's fair enough.
Because it's not right, but I kept blowing raspberries in the ear of my players that were, you know, blowing raspberries in his ear as he was telling, you know, like, in his ear, like, you know. And it's a recognised manager, it's been a successful manager.
Well, there's got to be a few people watching that know who he is.
And I had to actually say it to him after, you know, it's just an embarrassment, absolute embarrassment, you know.
Wow.
And he's been successful as well.
Oh, is he? Well, okay, that narrows things down. Do you want anything funny that you can think of?
I've been thinking nothing that can rival these boys, so no, not really. You do it.
You think you don't you?
Yeah, I think you do. And where we are now, our dugouts are Slough so far apart, you can't really.
I think that's a great idea.
We had a little argument.
We did, yeah.
That's
so far apart. That's the truth. I had to haul about 10 yards. Yeah, we were each other, gave it a bit, and sort of shook hands and went away from each other.
Well, I'll share something because me and John. Well, I didn't quite have it with John, and he's laughing now, but I made the front page of non-league paper the next day. The fact I was at Leverhead at the time, and one of your players come running over, we were doing well that year, he came running over and give it the large in front of my dugout. Of course, I lost my rag a little bit. And of course, like, is it one of your players had just been sent off previously?
Yeah.
And of course, I've got sent off at the back of it, so I'm walking round, I get into, it's right near the end of the game, and I've gone into the change room area at Leverhead, and I've seen this guy kick the door, and it's made the whole thing up. I think, bloody hell, you know, I went and said, oi, you calm down. And of course, the game's ending, of course, the referee comes in, and we're just having handbag stuff. Yeah. But all the referee done was blew his whistle to the loud, and what happens about 14, 15 supporters running all the players, it become like a national riot, you know, it just shows you how things can get out of hand.
Over Hendon, we'd gone on a little run of results and turned it around, and it was the funniest red card you'll ever hear, just talking about red cards. I got sent off from the dugout. We were chasing a game, I think we were 1-0 down in the game. It was at Claremont Road, the old ground, and the game was going on and whatnot, and we were attack after attack, and one of their players just landed on the ball and just cleared it up the line, and I was in the emotion of the game, just completely forgot myself. It was still on the pitch. I've gone on the pitch. I've gone onto the pitch and grabbed the ball as if to take a throw, and I thought myself, hold on, it ain't over the line yet. It's 2 yards on the pitch.
Wow. And just talking about that, just about the level of football that you're doing, because that's what we're really discussing, Conference South football. I mean, what's the style of football? This is something that gets debated quite a bit. I mean, how would you describe your style of football?
Like a pass the ball quickly, like a pass the ball in their half as quick as possible.
In imposing half. Yeah. So you like the passing game, yeah. Imposing half. So that's your style of football. Yeah. John, how do you and Neil play over at Slough?
We've changed a little bit this year during the season, maybe not for the better now looking at the results, but we've had our success, if you like. The 2 promotions we very rarely changed for anyone. We were 4-4-2, plenty of width, 2 attacking wide players. Very hard working team, but we played with lots of width, and we just tried to outscore and get a team. We didn't like setting up for a draw. We'd just go to win every single game. And then this year, as the season's gone on, we've changed a little bit, and we've played a 3 in midfield, and we've even played a narrow 4 to be a bit more solid. And I think one thing that we've done, we're passing the ball now more than we ever have done. I'm not saying we didn't ever pass the ball, but we had the lad Dobson on the left, and we used to get the ball out early to him, and our keeper kicks the ball as well as anyone I know in non-league football, and we use that. We hit a lot of big diagonals, and since we lost all that, we've played a bit differently, and we have played more from the back, and at times we've looked a really good side, but we've not been winning as many games. So as a manager, you overanalyse that, and you say, well, should we be back doing what we always did, but the reality is we just haven't been scoring. We've been playing games after not scoring goals. So you think, play the way you are and get a few new players in the attacking end of the pitch and we'll be alright. These are things you go through as a manager, especially when you're not flying. You question yourselves.
I think it's an unfair question to ask. What's your style of play? Your style of play is a winning formula. You know, you change, you adapt, and you play different ways. Sometimes you'll load the ball box as quickly as you possibly can from every angle because you know they're not as good aerially. Sometimes there'll be a lack of pace. You'll want to get yourself in one-on-one duels as much as you can, so that means you've got to pass and look after the ball a little more. I mean, we've always had an attacking-minded side. I've always played with, number 10 with 2 wide. He's a front 4 effectively, like we had last year. That's sort of the style. But I found this year that it's, actually trying to look after the ball as well as you need to create a one-on-one duel. It's much more difficult. Teams are getting after.
So are you sort of suggesting, because this is an interesting fact, because the next question that really goes out there, Bostik Prem managers, and obviously I know a fair few, that are looking to be in your league next season, and the particular ones that are right up there are teams that actually play a lot of football from the back. It's not the question about how other people play, but is that style of football likely to pay dividends at your level? Because you three will know whether you can start playing that.
It's a tougher league, isn't it? It's a tougher league. I think it's a tougher league, but I do think a lot of people in our league, my opinion, I've only been in it a little while myself, 2 more years than these last years. And you have this thing with scared to lose and all that, I actually think a lot of teams don't really scared to win. Well, they set out to not get beat to start with. I think what you're saying, footballing teams will.
But I talk about Dulwich has struggled this year.
My side would have struggled. Look at the goals we scored last year. I think you get eaten up a little. The more football you play, the more it plays in. You just said, I think it plays into the teams and they set up the rigid 4s. They don't leave a lot of space. They're compact. They're hard working. They're efficient. They don't make many mistakes. They don't switch off like they will in the league underneath. I think you have to be. For me, I think you have to be a little bit more direct. Better than the league underneath, and you definitely, I keep using the word efficiency because I just think the league, you've just said it, there's just, everyone's so efficient, mate. You just set up not to lose games.
If you say you saw that,
pass and moving type of style of football, which, you know, look, you know the teams at the top of that Boston Prem at the minute, and we know the managers and we know those styles. I mean, and I'd love them to be in your level next year, and hopefully they will be, but I know their styles, and I just, you know, and I know they listen to this show.
He hadn't built up your weight whacking it.
The key thing is, you've got to have a plan B. So,
yeah, I talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
People
whether you're
just
coming
ask me
up
about
or
it.
whether you're already in the league, if you set your stall out at the start of the season and all you want to do is keep a get six, centre half split, the work players do that, midfield player comes in, and all you're going to do is play from the back, teams will find you out. You know they're going to do it. I think we all watch more the opposition than we probably managers ever did 10 years ago. All social media and everything you see, and you see all the highlights and we get to watch videos. You just press those teams high, stop them playing, and then they're like, now what do we do?
Well,
we had a team come to us, and it was last year actually in the Southern Prem, and they were intent, that was all they were going to do, and they were passing from their corner flag to their keeper in the 6-yard box, who we're chasing down, who was trying to do a Cruyff turn and go out the other side, and they were doing 10-15 passes, not even getting in our half. That's not winning football, is it? And everyone says that's the way you've got to play. You've got a different way.
You're spot on. I mean, we've just all spoke and we've all been on the same page about players, about, you know, well, let me tell you, the management teams are better in this level. I've seen that, you know, I think the coaches and the managers are better. You know,
in what respect though?
Well, they're more organised, they're more structures, they adjust a lot quicker. If you're having joy in certain areas, the sort of, you know, identifying that, they'll identify it quicker. You know, they'll stop supply lines quicker. If you're having joy of just loading the box, I think the adjustments that are made at this level, you can see. I think the homework's a lot more diligent. I think, you know, when you look at, I mean, we all send and go out and watch games, don't we? But, I mean, I can watch now, and I've done it, I've watched the last 2 Oxford City games, the whole 90 minutes. Can't do that necessarily in the Boston. So I've been able to watch the last 2 games, and we can all do that. We've all got the you know, the software program and whatnot to do that. So it's, you know, within our level, I think your homework's a lot greater. You know, and you're able to be a lot more aware of your opposition than you are from me in the league and other. And that's why I say the management teams are a lot more prepared.
I agree with that.
Very interesting. I mean, there's going to be managers that are going to be totally disagree with it. I know 2 particularly be watching this thinking, no.
Well, let me tell you, I mean,
well, managers that think there's only one way to play, and we're going to play out from the back, and
no, there will be.
You know, most of them type of footballers, I mean this in the nicest possible way. The teams that play like that have got a certain type of player in the back line of their defence. Most of them are footballers over and above, you know, being out and out defenders. In our league, for me, defenders are defenders, and that's for, you know, and they're aggressive, they're physical, they're, you know, they're powerful, they're a different type. So a lot of, for me, the defenders are not, you know, geared to that style of football, and that's why I think it'll.
So that style of football, you can get away a bit more at Boston level than maybe you would at conference level.
What John's saying is spot on. Them 2 managers you just mentioned there.
Well, the ones you know I'm talking about.
I don't know if you know, but if they're winning matches, they're right. If we're losing, we're wrong.
Well, that's a great comment. That's a
if they come up and win matches, they're right.
Right, exactly.
Don't win matches, don't win matches.
Fair enough. Right, what we do this part, we part of the show because we're nearly there now. We've nearly got 5 more minutes before the end of the show. Review the matches. So you guys review our game, and then vice versa. So,
and can I just add to that, Gary? When we've done that, we'd like you to, I'd like you to give your 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th teams for the end of the season. So reviewing your games, then we'd like you to say who you think will be 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th in your league.
What about first?
Oh yeah, right. Okay, 1st, 2nd, yeah, alright, sorry, I thought it was a done deal with mine, I thought it was a done deal, but go for it. Sorry.
So Woking have got Chippenham Town tomorrow. What do you think of the score, and how do you think will win that game tomorrow?
I think we've played Chippenham twice. They're a very direct side. I'm sure, you know, they're starting to be told that. But they, you know, they go from back to front very, very quickly. And if you're not able to cope with that, then, you know, they'll definitely ask questions. They've got some footballers, and I think they'll have enough to cope with what Chippenham have season.
Roughly.
I'd say 2-0 Woking.
Okay, John?
I'd say 2-1 Woking. Sorry, Dals. Sorry, you
If you see the goal.
Sorry, Mark.
They're an awkward side, Chippenham. We haven't beaten them this year. We only took a point off the 2 games. They've got a lad with pace, Carno Chambers, and they've got Nat Jarvis, who's a good target man.
I
So
think he's one of the better ones, Jarvis, to be fair.
So I think, and Dals knows it won't be an easy game, but I think they'll have a little bit too much for. I can see a 2-1 win for Woking.
Okay, then.
Thank you. We'll do the predictions at the end. Sorry, come on.
So, Oxford versus Hampton and Richmond Borough.
It'll be a tough game. I really do. Oxford's been on an awful run, but X for you guys have won last week, haven't as well?
Yeah, won the last 3, I mean, or 2, sorry.
One, two.
One a week and they watched the game, yeah.
So I think it's a tough place, especially playing that Ashford to, Ashford stuff.
Anything you can your buddy in?
Well, again, I think they'll pass it. I think they have lost a lot of players and all, to be honest, I really do. Okay, 1-0 happen.
1-0.
Are they 3G, are they? 4G or whatever? Is it a good 4G or is it...
They're all the same on it, guys, really. You should be dealing on it, to be honest.
Similar to SJ.
That's a subject for another. That's a good subject.
Do you want to know your prediction, mate? Oxford, Hampton?
Be close. I could see a draw, just because I think...
Good draw then.
I think there's very little between you and the leagues in terms of where it is.
Yeah, I think there's about 5 points between us at the moment.
Yeah, I'd love for Gary's sake to be a win. And it's one of those games, there's so many games in our league. Could be a draw, could be a single goal victory either way. I'd be really surprised if it's different to that, if someone goes and wins by a couple. So I think, I'd say I think a draw.
Draw. And Concord Rangers versus Slough Town.
This is quite interesting.
So that's a hard place to go for me, really. I'll look back here, but I think it's a hard place to go. And you're seeing you've lost all these forwards as well. No, I'll look to come with you on that one, but I think it's a brilliant hard place to go there. So I'm just being honest.
Don't start apologising, mate, just say it.
5-0 Concord. No,
I'll tweet you tomorrow.
There's a bit of motivation going Slough Town's way here, I fancy. Concord are decent.
Concord, so I think it'll be tough. I'll let go for Concord win.
What sort of score?
2-0.
2-0. Okay.
What you're just saying there, we went to Concord and we got our, proper ride in there. We spoke about games that we were well beaten. That was one of them for sure. In Midson on top with Alex Ward, I think in that too, we talk about strikers and goals and experience and know-how. I think that's nearly as good a front two as there is in the division. And Alex Ward was an offer to everyone in the summer, but with his injuries and whatnot, not too many took the punt, so he did. But I think they will ask questions definitely of you. I think they're very solid defensively, Slough. I'm going to go with a draw. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw, thank you.
I'll tell you one thing that I have learned tonight. I haven't watched much National South football at all because I watched a lot of Boston, but I really fancy coming down, not just your games, you really give me the appetite to go and watch the league, because the way you guys have been talking tonight, it really makes me feel that it's a real good league to go and watch. There's some good teams there, good players in there, and I really, what I'm going to take away from tonight is I'll definitely come down and watch that 100%. But yeah,
it's only 50 probably get in.
Okay,
Good one, Al. Good one, mate. Right, well, let's finish off with 1, 2, 3, 4. What you feel will go, and we'll just top it off. Who you think should be manager? Who will end up being, or you think should be manager of the year? Right, from all of them. Right, okay. So it's a tough one call. I know you're smiling. Al, we go with you first. So
it's a hard one.
Come on, mate.
This is difficult. I've got you.
Woking top. Yeah.
Torquay. Chelmsford. Yeah. Billericay.
Right.
Because I think Concord's
Concord?
Yeah, no, I'm not going to Concord. Bath City.
Bath City.
Yeah.
I have seen Bath. I did like.
And Concord just out of the playoffs.
That's what I think. So I think I'm wrong here. I'm trying to get the pressure off it, but I think Concord are awful players to go to. Fair bit of Sammy that you say, I went to that game, all up top. I was at the game, and I just think it's a blinking horrible place to go.
But you don't think they might not make that
5? I don't know if the top 5 will talk about it.
Yeah.
So
Concord at 7 or vice versa. So, fair enough, mate.
No,
now manager of
Concord over at Wilson.
Sure?
Yeah.
Do you want to change your mind?
No.
Have you not got Welling in there? Is it Welling?
No, Welling not in.
No.
It's tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tough, it is tough.
So Welling, Steve,
No.
Kingy misses out then.
No, it probably won't. There's just so many good for our little playoff space that makes it going to be tough. Yeah. But I'll stick with some. King will not miss out, so I'll probably have to work.
Who? Best manager you feel, obviously you ain't going to pick yourself, but best manager you feel in that league at the minute?
Gary Johnson.
Gary Johnson? Thank you. John? Come on, mate.
Because he said Concord were going to beat us.
I'll take the pressure. I'll take the pressure.
No, there's no friends here, mate. You say it.
I said it's 50-50. I would. And the reason I'll probably go Torquay to edge it is I just think they've got a few more goals. They've shown they've got a few more goals, and I think it'll be. I think it goes to the last weekend of the season, but I would go Torquay, Woking, who will then go and storm the playoffs. And,
Right.
Yeah. I think Billericay can have a strong finish now they've signed Jacob. I'll go Billericay 3, Chelmsford 4, Bath 5, Welling 6, Dartford 7. So I think that's the current
So
7.
miss out with you then, do they?
Well, I just think that there are a few points out of it, and I just think, I mean, the one I think will probably finish above maybe Concord is Wilstone, because they're on fire at the minute. But I look above Wilstone, I'm not sure who'll drop out. I could see Wilstone continuing to go well, but I'm just not sure the teams above are going to drop enough points. So, yeah, I'll go for the 7 that are there.
Right.
In a slightly different
Best manager, in your opinion, at the minute, in the league?
I have to say, you've got to say Gary Johnson, because what he's done in the game and his experience, and anyone can say it's easy where he is, but he came in and they were in a tough position when he got there, and you can say new manager, but he's obviously done well. What I would say is if any of the current bottom 3 get out, then one of those managers should have a lot of praise as well, because they've got it tough. You know, I don't think they've got what other teams have got maybe in terms of finances, you don't know, but they've been down there all season, and if one of those gets out, I think they'll have done well to get out and deserve credit.
Cheers, John. Thank you. Gary?
I'm going to say something that Dow's maybe don't like it. I think Woking will win it, but I think it will go right to the wire. But I'll also go as far as saying the team that finished second won't get promoted. I think the disappointment from, because I think it's going to go right to the death. I think there's going to be a real, sort of challenge for either manager, be it Dow's, be it, Gary Johnson, to really get them over. Now you see it all the time. The disappointment of not automatic promotion is going to play its part. So I'm going to say Woking promotion. I'm going to say Torquay picked in playoffs. They'll be second. I think Billericay will be third. I think he'll invest again, and I think they'll make a couple more additions before the transfer deadline to get them kicked on again. I think Billericay will be third. I think Chelmsford will be fourth. I think Bath will be fifth, and then it could be any one of the 4 we've just mentioned to take the other 2 places, being Concord, Welling, Wildstone and Dartford. I think any one of them 4 could quite easily fall out of them top 2 positions. Concord, I think, with the front end of the pitch being as strong as it is, and in Esserman and Stirling defensively, they are quite strong defensively as well. So I think they could be one that comes up on the rounds. I know Wildstone have been on an unbelievable run since the turn of the year, and most of it's come sort of on the back of quite a bit of turmoil there. I think there was, with the chairman going and whatnot, it looks like that siege mentality in the change room has definitely played its part in kicking them on. But I look at their side, I went and watched them last week in a game against Billericay, and it's only my own personal opinion, they're definitely grafting for Bobby, but I'm not sure there's enough there to see them through right until, I think, in Welling and Concord and Dartford, they've just got that little bit more, I think. So any one of the 4 for the other 2, but none of them 4 for me will be strong enough to be promoted. I think it will be out of the top 4 that I've just mentioned. Well, top 5, Bath, Chelmsford, Billericay and Torquay to be promoted.
Gary Johnson fan or someone different?
Alan Dowson, and I don't see that just because the job that he done in our football club before I took over and what he's done, for me, he's not just because he's sitting here, he's someone I speak to regularly.
And here from me and Gary, good. We know this guy, we've known him for a long time, and we wish him really well, as we do
for me,
all of you.
you know, he's one of me, you know, closest ones in
Yeah.
football I speak to regularly, and for me it's him.
Yeah.
And if there's
Cup
anyone
run
in
as
the
well, I'd
next,
say.
yeah,
Oh.
Cup run as well,
Exactly.
fantastic.
and if there's one
To-
manager,
for that not to affect him as well.
Yeah.
there's one manager that I really do like, and I think I speak for most,
Sure.
and want to see do well, and want to see get out of it.
Go on.
Not at our expenses, John Coventry at East Forward.
Wow. Yeah.
One of the, you know, the most gentleman.
No,
you
you're
know,
right, yeah.
he's a top
Agree with that.
man. And, you know, we played him last week, and he's just an absolute gentleman.
Yeah.
Don't want it to be at our expense, mind you, but you know, I'd like to see him get out of it. I mean, he's a top man.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Okay, well, thanks very much, gentlemen. Really do appreciate your time tonight, and really enjoyed it. I know Mick has as well. We both enjoy it, and thanks very much for coming here tonight and chatting with us. And you know, like I say, I've learned so much tonight about this league, and I'm really looking forward to going and watching some games. So all the best for the rest of the season, and thanks very much for coming. I know Mick would say the same. So thanks very much.
Brilliant, thank you. All the best to you.
Cheers,
Thank you.
Bye.